Greek mythology explains the why and not the how. Therefore, it doesn't go into any scientific detail. So if you're ever confused at any point in this video, just remember that Greek mythology explains the why and not the how. Before we move on to our main topic of the video, let us discuss the meaning of the word mythology. For example, why is it called Greek mythology and not Greek religion? And what's the difference between these two terms? Well, as you know, most religions have a holy script they consider to be authoritative over their own beliefs and actions, such as Islam, which has the Quran, Christianity, which has the Bible, Judaism, which has the Torah. In simpler terms, it is a system of formally organized beliefs. However, a mythology is a collection of tales, stories belonging to a particular religious or cultural tradition that's spread by word of mouth, hence unorganized. According to Greek mythology, at the beginning there was only chaos. The very first of all, the origin of everything, the unfathomable space at the beginning of time. Erebus, the primordial god of darkness, and what I mean by primordial are the first generation of Greek gods, was able to control and bend reality to his whims, as well as even alter something as tangible as physics and the universe in itself. While Nyx, the primordial goddess of the night, was able to control everything related to the dark and shadows. In fact, she was the only goddess Zeus ever feared. They both originated from this void of chaos and everything was empty, dark and silent. When love, Eros, was born, it brought order to this endless void of chaos. Light and Gaia, Earth, both emanated from love. However, Aether, the heavenly light, and Hemera, they, the earthly light, were born from the union of Erebus and Nyx. In fact, Hemera was Nyx's opposite, and this is how the day and night cycle worked in Greek mythology. Nyx brought the dark veil over the night, while Hemera chased the dark mists away in the morning. All by herself, Nyx created the things that haunt mankind: dream, doom, death, fate, nemesis, and sleep. Gaia, on her own, created Uranus, the sky. Uranus then embraced Gaia from all of her sides and became her husband. Together they birthed three Cyclops: Argus, Thunderbolt, Sterops, Lightning, and Brontes, Thunder. They are a member of a primordial race of giants, each with a single round eye in the middle of their forehead. They were all storm deities and were the first myths to ever be known. Moving on, they birthed three Hecatoncheires. The word Hecatoncheire means 100-handed. They were gigantic and had 50 heads, 100 arms, each of great strength. In fact, their incredible power and ferocity allowed them to surpass all of the Titans. There were three of them: Briones, Kotos, and Gyges. Finally, they birthed 12 Titans. There are only three that are relevant to knowing the creation in Greek mythology: Kronos, Rhea, and Iapetos, the god of mortal life, or the god of death, who produced 4 sons with his wife. Atlas, who personified the quality of endurance, was also the god who instructed mankind in the art of astronomy. He is the strongest of the Titans and the only one known with 4 arms. Then we have Prometheus. He is known as a supreme trickster and has the power of forethought, which is careful consideration of what will be necessary or may happen in the future. Epimetheus, who was the Titan god of afterthought and excuses, and he was, I quote, known as a proverbial fool. Finally, we have Meneuetes, the god of violent anger and rash action. That was an interesting game. Sadly, Uranus was a cruel father, so he imprisoned them to the darkest corners of the earth, which was Gaia's womb. Gaia was furious for this action, so she plotted an attack against Uranus. With the help of her children, she created a flint sickle and asked one of her children to attack Uranus. However, they were all terrified of enraging him, except the youngest Titan, Kronos, who castrated Uranus and threw his genitals on the ocean with the help of his 4 other siblings, and they were the same 4 pillars that held the heavens. Uranus' blood that was spilt on the earth gave birth to the giants ash tree nymphs, also known as the Melea, they were nurses of the god Zeus, and they excreted a sugary-like substance the Greeks named manna, and they were considered to be an ambrosial food, or foods that had fallen from the heavens. It was a honey-like substance for the gods. In fact, it was one of their two favorite foods. Moving on, they also gave birth to the Erinyes, also known as the Furies. They were chthonic goddesses of vengeance. What I mean by chthonic is that they resided in the underworld. They were originally perceived as ghosts of the murdered. They were often would ascend from the underworld and pursue the wicked. Being deities from the underworld, the Greeks would fear to utter their dreaded name, Erinyes, and would often address them by euphemistic names such as Eumenides, which means kind. Finally, Aphrodite was born from the sea foam that was created. Aphrodite was the Olympian goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, and procreation. She was depicted as a beautiful woman, often accompanied by Eros, love. Her beauty and sexual nature were of such high regard that it could spark a war between the gods. The Cyclops and the Catancheres were imprisoned in Tartarus. Kronos ruled for many ages, where for a brief period of time, the earth enjoyed a golden age, where it was in total peace and harmony. Kronos then married his sister Rhea, but he was paranoid, since a prophecy foretold by his parents depicted that he would be dethroned by one of his children, so he swallowed them when they were born. Rhea, saddened and fearing for her newborn child, hid herself and gave the child to the ash tree nymphs to be raised. However, to fool Kronos, she wrapped a stone in cloth and gave it to him, where he foolishly swallowed it. The child's name was Zeus. He grew up to be a handsome, brave youth in the island of Crete, where he swore to avenge his siblings and kill his father. For this, he consulted Metis, the goddess of good counsel and wisdom, who prepared a drink for Kronos that would make him regurgitate the children he swallowed. Rhea told Kronos that Zeus was still alive. She convinced him to bring him back, and Kronos accepted Zeus as their cupbearer, where then Zeus served the potion to Kronos, and the children came out of him unscathed. And they are as follow: Hera, the goddess of marriage, women, and childbirth; Hestia, the Greek virgin goddess of hospitality; Demeter, the goddess of harvest; and finally Hades, as well as Poseidon. Kronos, angered by Zeus's actions, sought to rule again with the help of the Titans. All the Titans fought alongside him except Prometheus, Epimetheus, and Oceanus. A battle ensued between the Titans and the Olympians. It was known as Titanomachy. Atlas led the strong Titans against Zeus and the young gods, and they were soon overpowered, but Zeus's whip helped the Olympians win the battle as he went to Tartarus to free the three Cyclops, which crafted the lightning bolts of Zeus, Poseidon's trident, which could create strong tidal waves and earthquakes of unbelievable magnitude, and the helm of darkness for Hades, which allowed him to turn invisible. And he also freed the Catancheres, which hurled 100 boulders of stone at a time, and even one of them became Zeus's bodyguard. He was known as Briareus. The gods were very alike to humans when it came to physical structure, emotions, and looks. Each of the gods expressed emotions such as fear, anger, love, and jealousy. They were not portrayed as perfect beings. They had their own weaknesses and limitations. In fact, their weaknesses were elaborated on as much as their strengths. Each of them represented a side of human nature and had their own perception of justice. Zeus was the ruler of all gods. He controlled every realm, and he was omnipotent. And with that, thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.